Have you ever reached the end of Christmas Day feeling a little off, not ill, not in pain, just more tired than usual, maybe slightly lightheaded, a bit weaker, not quite yourself? And you quietly thought, this is probably just age or a long day. But what if it isn't age at all? What if Christmas changes how your body responds in ways that don't show up right away and don't announce themselves clearly at the time? Even when you don't skip your medication, even when you don't overeat, even when you feel like you've done everything right, that's what surprises many seniors, because Christmas habits feel harmless. They happen only once a year. They don't feel like the kind of things that should matter. Christmas morning arrives, you sleep in a little. Your usual pills are taken later. Breakfast is delayed. The routine your body depends on quietly disappears. Nothing feels wrong in that moment. Nothing feels urgent or concerning. You eat later than usual. You sit longer with family. You enjoy a festive drink. Small timing shifts that don't seem important until the body has to absorb and adjust to them. After 65, timing matters more than most seniors realize, especially for the heart and blood sugar. And the body doesn't always warn you right away when timing changes. There's no sharp signal. No clear moment that tells you to stop. No obvious sign that something is being strained. Just a slow, quiet pressure building beneath a day that feels joyful and normal. That's why these aren't everyday mistakes and why they're so easy to miss while they're happening. Most seniors don't notice anything unusual until later, that evening, the next morning, or a few days after Christmas. Poor sleep. Heavy legs, unexpected fatigue. A lingering sense that something just isn't quite right. By the time the symptoms appear, the habits that contributed to them already feel forgotten. This matters because what we're talking about today doesn't happen in everyday life. It happens when routines loosen, when timing shifts, when the body is asked to adapt quietly instead of instantly. At Christmas, meals come later. Sitting lasts longer. Drinks and snacks appear more often than usual. None of it feels extreme. None of it feels reckless. None of it feels like a problem in the moment. And that's exactly why older bodies react differently and silently. After 65, the heart and blood sugar don't always give immediate warnings. They respond more slowly. They signal later, sometimes well after the day is over. So instead of pain or clear symptoms, the strain builds gently through the day, then shows up afterward. That night, the next morning, or even a day or two after Christmas, poor sleep, unusual fatigue, heavier breathing, blood pressure that feels off for no clear reason. This delay in signals is what makes Christmas different. This video isn't about fear. It's not about strict rules. And it's not about taking joy out of the holiday. It's about awareness, because once you understand how Christmas habits interact with an aging body, small adjustments become protection without giving anything up. And here's what surprises many seniors when they finally learn it. One common Christmas habit can quietly interfere with how your medication works, even when you don't skip a single dose. Habit 1: taking medications later than usual on Christmas morning. On Christmas morning, many seniors do something that feels completely harmless. They don't skip their medication. They don't forget it. They just take it later than usual, sleeping in a little, opening gifts, family arriving early, breakfast happening later than normal. Before you realize it, the usual timing shifts by an hour, sometimes two. This isn't about doing anything wrong. It's about timing conflict. After 65, medications work best when they enter the body before the day's demands begin, before heavy meals, before sugar, before salt, before emotional and physical stress. At Christmas, that order quietly flips. Medication goes in at the same time as rich food, at the same time as sweet drinks, at the same time as excitement, noise, and a busier than usual morning. Instead of preparing the body, the medication is forced to catch up, and older bodies don't adjust to that shift as easily as they once did. Blood pressure may drift instead of staying steady. Blood sugar may swing later in the afternoon. And many seniors feel it not as pain, but as lightheadedness, weakness, or a slightly unsteady feeling by evening. What makes this habit risky is how normal it feels. The morning seems fine, lunch feels fine, the visit continues. Nothing goes wrong right away, and that delay is exactly why this habit is so easy to miss. Now, here's what helps without changing Christmas plans. Taking medication at your usual time, even if the day starts later, keeps the body ahead of the day instead of reacting to it. A light bite is enough if food timing matters. If a heavy meal is planned later, keeping medication timing steady makes the rest of the day easier on the heart. And if your routine will clearly change, setting a simple reminder the night before can quietly protect you. Not because you'll forget, but because Christmas distractions work differently. This one small adjustment keeps blood pressure steadier, blood sugar calmer, and the holiday easier on an aging body. And it protects many seniors in ways they often don't recognize until they look back and realize how different they felt after Christmas. Habit 2. Letting salt quietly build up in the days before Christmas for many seniors. The problem doesn't begin with the Christmas meal. It starts earlier. In the days leading up to Christmas, eating patterns slowly change. A few more ready-made foods in the house, quick soups while preparing, crackers, cheeses, packaged snacks, leftovers that get eaten here and there. Nothing feels unusual. Nothing tastes overly salty. But after 65, the body clears salt more slowly, and it doesn't complain right away. Salt begins to build quietly over several days. Fluid starts to hold. Circulation feels heavier. The heart works harder without drawing attention to itself. That's why the signs often appear on Christmas Day or the morning after. Shoes feel tighter. Socks leave deeper marks. Breathing feels heavier at night. Sleep feels less restful. And it's confusing because the holiday meal hasn't even happened yet. The body didn't warn early. It waited. By the time symptoms show up, the system is already carrying more than usual. That's why a little awareness before Christmas makes such a difference. In the days leading up to the holiday, keeping meals simpler helps the body stay balanced. Mixing packaged foods with fresher options gives the heart room to recover between meals. If soups or prepared foods are on the menu, spacing them out, instead of having them back to back, reduces quiet buildup. Drinking fluids steadily helps too, even when bathroom trips feel inconvenient, and small body clues matter. Tighter shoes, deeper sock marks, heavier breathing at night. These aren't just signs of aging, they're early signals the body is carrying more than usual. The strain usually isn't one salty meal. It's the slow buildup that happens when routines shift. And when that buildup is managed before Christmas, the holiday itself becomes much easier on the heart and blood sugar. Habit 3. Skipping breakfast to save room. For the big meal, this one is extremely common at Christmas. Almost everyone does it. You wake up later. You know a big meal is coming. So you think, I'll just wait and eat later. It feels sensible. It feels harmless. But after 65, skipping breakfast affects the body very differently. Blood sugar can fall quietly, without the strong warning signs many seniors remember from years ago. There may be no shaking hands, no pounding heart, no sudden hunger. Instead, it shows up as feeling off, lightheaded, weaker than usual, a little foggy, less steady on your feet. And because it doesn't feel dramatic, it's easy to miss. Over time, many seniors notice that low blood sugar doesn't announce itself the way it once did. It blends into the background of the day. Then the big meal arrives. A large amount of food, sugar, and starch hits a body that's already running low. Blood sugar rises sharply. The heart works harder. Energy drops later. That's when many seniors feel wiped out, unfocused, or unsteady, often in the afternoon or evening when they least expect it. This combination, quiet low blood sugar followed by a heavy meal, puts extra strain on the heart and increases fall risk, even when the meal itself feels enjoyable. And it all starts much earlier in the day. That's why a small adjustment can make a big difference without taking anything away from the holiday meal. Having something small earlier helps keep blood sugar steady, not a full breakfast. Just enough to give the body a signal of stability. A little protein helps. A small balanced bite helps. It keeps the system calm so the big meal doesn't arrive as a shock. Skipping breakfast may feel like a holiday shortcut, but for seniors, it often creates more strain later in the day than it saves. And that's why this Christmas habit quietly affects both blood sugar and the heart. Habit 4, drinking far less water to avoid bathroom trips during visits. Many seniors do this intentionally at Christmas. Long car rides, busy homes, limited bathrooms, not wanting to interrupt conversations or draw attention. So fluids get cut back. It feels practical. It feels controlled. But after 65, thirst is no longer a reliable signal. You don't feel dry. You don't feel urgently thirsty. Instead, dehydration shows up quietly. As dizziness, as weakness, as unusual fatigue, as feeling less steady later in the day. And it's easy to miss where it started. With less fluid, circulation slows. Blood becomes thicker. Glucose becomes more concentrated. The heart has to work harder just to keep things moving, often without sending a clear warning. And this is happening on a day when meals are heavier, salt is higher, and sitting lasts longer than usual. Nothing feels dramatic, but the strain builds in the background. By evening, some seniors feel wiped out. Others feel lightheaded when standing. Some notice their heart feels off, even without pain. That's when many people finally realize something isn't quite right. What helps doesn't require drinking large amounts or constant bathroom trips. Sipping small amounts steadily keeps circulation smoother without overwhelming the bladder. Drinking earlier in the day makes a difference too, so fluids don't all land late at night. And not waiting for thirst matters, because after 65, thirst often appears only after the body is already behind. Cutting back on fluids may feel like it makes Christmas easier, but steady hydration quietly supports blood sugar, circulation, and heart workload without drawing attention or disrupting the day. And that's why this Christmas-only habit can have such an outsized effect on how seniors feel by the end of the day. Habit 5, treating festive drinks as harmless because they're not alcohol. At Christmas, many drinks don't feel like a concern. Fruit punch, apple cider, sweet tea, holiday juices, they're festive, they're familiar, and because they're not alcohol, they feel safe. But for seniors, these drinks affect blood sugar much faster than most people realize. There's no fiber. No slowing effect, just liquid sugar entering the bloodstream quickly, and it's rarely just one glass. A few small sips, a refill, another cup while talking. It doesn't feel like much in the moment. Blood sugar rises, often without a clear signal at the time. Then later, sometimes hours later, it drops. That's when some seniors notice confusion, sudden fatigue, a foggy, unsettled feeling, or a heart rhythm that feels off in the evening. And because dessert may have happened earlier, these symptoms feel unexpected. They don't get linked back to the drinks. That's why small adjustments help without taking anything away from the celebration. Having festive drinks alongside food slows how quickly sugar enters the system. Alternating sweet drinks with water helps keep levels steadier through the day, and keeping portions modest, even when refills are offered, reduces the late-day swing. Liquid sugar moves faster than dessert, and in older bodies, it often lingers longer too. That's why these harmless holiday drinks can quietly strain both blood sugar and the heart, especially later in the day, when the body is already tired. Habit 6, sitting for hours during visits without standing or walking. Christmas conversations can last a long time. You sit to talk, you sit to eat, you sit while others open gifts. And before you realize it, an hour becomes two, sometimes more. It feels relaxing, it feels social, it feels well-earned. But after 65, long stretches of sitting affect the body, even without eating more. Blood sugar can rise simply from staying still. Circulation slows, especially in the legs. Blood pressure may drift quietly upward. Many seniors notice it later as heavy legs, stiffness when standing, a sluggish, tired feeling that wasn't there earlier. It's subtle, but it places extra demand on the body. When muscles stay inactive too long, the body has a harder time clearing sugar from the bloodstream. And when the legs don't move, blood flows more slowly, which makes the heart work harder to keep circulation steady. Nothing feels wrong in the moment. The strain builds quietly in the background. That's why breaking up sitting time makes such a difference, without leaving the room or interrupting the visit. Standing up every 30 to 45 minutes helps, even briefly. Walking to the kitchen, stretching near the chair, shifting positions and moving the legs. These small movements keep circulation active and blood sugar steadier through the day. Long sitting may feel restful during the holidays, but gentle movement is what helps seniors feel lighter, steadier, and more comfortable by evening. And that's why this quiet Christmas habit has such a strong effect on both the heart and blood sugar. Habit 7. Eating the heaviest meal late in the evening at Christmas. Dinner often runs later than usual. Conversations stretch. Cooking takes longer. Everyone waits until the whole family is together. So the biggest meal of the day happens late. It feels special. It feels traditional. It feels worth it. But after 65, timing matters just as much as what's on the plate. Digestion naturally slows at night. Blood pressure regulation becomes less steady, and the heart recovers more slowly while you sleep. So instead of winding down, the body stays busy. Blood sugar remains elevated longer. Reflux or chest discomfort may appear at night. Breathing can feel heavier when lying down. Sleep becomes lighter and more restless. Then the next morning, many seniors wake up feeling off, groggy, stiff, blood pressure higher than usual, energy lower than expected, and it's confusing because nothing felt wrong at dinner. The body was simply working through the night. An aging system needs time to process a heavy meal, and late evening doesn't leave much room for that. That's why small adjustments help without changing Christmas dinner itself. Keeping portions reasonable eases the overnight load, even when everything looks tempting. Eating a little earlier, even 30 to 60 minutes, gives the body a head start before sleep. And staying upright for a while after the meal allows digestion to begin before lying down. Late meals may feel like part of the celebration, but for seniors, they quietly affect the heart and blood sugar long after the table is cleared. And that's why this final Christmas habit often shows up the next morning when no one expects it. None of these habits are bad choices. They're normal. They're familiar. They happen because Christmas feels different, and it is different. And the important thing to remember is this: Christmas repeats every year. The routines shift every year. The timing changes every year. And the body responds the same way every year, whether we notice it or not. What catches many seniors off guard isn't one meal or one moment. It's the quiet patterns, small delays, missed signals, strain that builds silently, then shows up later. This isn't about fear. And it's not about taking joy out of the holiday. It's about control. When you understand how your body works now, small adjustments become protection, not restriction. And if this helped you notice patterns you hadn't connected before, stay with us. At Prime Senior Health, we share clear, practical guidance designed for bodies that change with age, so you can protect your heart, steady your blood sugar, and enjoy holidays with more confidence. Subscribe for simple, doctor-informed habits that help you stay independent, informed, and in control, not just at Christmas, but all year long. Because Christmas doesn't harm seniors. Unnoticed patterns do.